Good morning. Good morning. Hopefully, some of y'all will come in. Good morning to all of my many friends, also to my many enemies. Once again, this is another Roosevelt Sounds Off live stream. Getting started with a little jazz in this morning to celebrate a nice day, well, what soon will be a nice day here in the city of Chicago. So hopefully everybody is doing great. Everybody come on in and tune in. Got some things to talk to y'all about this morning, seriously. Hopefully everybody is doing great this morning. Just working out with my trusty little phone and everything here. Because I got some boy, do I have some things and some news for you all on this morning. This is kind of, I'm doing this live stream this morning because this is kind of an update. But by the way, we had to start that off with a little bit of Donald Byrd, one of my favorite jazz musicians from back in the day, or the late Donald Byrd. So one of my favorite jazz musicians, love him to death. Got almost all of his records from that he did back in the 50s and the 60s, records like A New Perspective and Fancy Free and Places and Spaces and those kinds of things. I love it. I'm a big jazz fan, you all, by the way, in case you didn't know. But this morning I come to you all with some news and an update to this Starbucks case. The update is that I finally have the name of the woman who is the manager of this Starbucks in Philadelphia who caused all of this mess. Her name is Holly Hylton. First name Holly, spelled capital Holly, last name Hylton, spelled capital Hylton, Hylton, Holly Hylton, who's 31, of Philadelphia, who is the racist white woman who decided to call 911 on two black men and had them forcibly arrested and removed from her Starbucks in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, on 18th and Spruce Street. So now what I am about to do, I'm going to play you some clips of the 911 call. I was able to find the 911 footage. And I was also going to play you even the police 911, when they're communicating with each other. And you're going to see how fast this goes from bad to worse. Now, when she made the call initially, you're going to hear that at first, she said it was two guys, who are in my shop or something, not paying and not leaving. And mind you now, if anybody has saw the Good Morning America interview, before she called the police, these two men were only in the Starbucks about 2 minutes, just 2 minutes before this stinking racist heifer decided to go and call the police. And this could have gone from bad to worse. I'm glad that these two men are safe because on the police scanner, you're going to hear that it goes from two to a group of men acting disorderly or being disorderly or causing a disturbance, which could have ended in the, a police shooting of somebody. I mean, you never know something when you call the police on somebody, how these things are going to end. So right now, I'm going to go to my phone and going to play for you these clips. So just listen up. Here we go. Wait, hold on. To turn this up. Okay, now the first thing you're hearing is the audio of what is going on in the coffee shop. Many of y'all have heard this audio many times, so I'm just going to be playing the audio for you on all of this. Okay, so stay tuned. Okay, we got to get past that. Okay.
April 12,
here we go.
2018.
I want y'all to listen close.
16:37 and 46 seconds.
Philadelphia Police Officer 363, how may I help you? Hi, I have two gentlemen at my cafe that are refusing to make a purchase or leave. I'm at the Starbucks at 18th and Spruce. Alright, please, will be up as soon as possible. Thank you. Bye.
Thursday, April.
Okay, now this is the police
2018, 16:40 and 28
This is them sending out the response.
14-16, getting started 1801 Spruce at Starbucks. Still at the service area, a group of males refusing to leave. 1801 Spruce.
I'm with 23 and 24. The much will hang up.
Okay. $4, $6 there.
Okay.
Okay.
Thursday, April 12, 2018, 16:41 and 08 seconds.
Thank you for that.
Thursday, April 12, 2018, 16:44 and 14 seconds.
My first.
Yeah, keep someone over here. That's another.
Alright. Now, 6 days over there. 1801 Spruce and got my district supervisor for 1801 Spruce.
What's the job?
The disturbance of the Starbucks group of males inside called the disturbance
Now,
9x3, 9x23, and 24 location. They're requesting another unit along with a supervisor.
Now, you see what just happened? I just had to pause that for a second. Now, you see how easily it went from two men in the Starbucks to a group causing a disturbance. Anytime it's a police call that goes out over the citywide and police hear a group causing a disturbance, what are they going to come and do? They're going to come locked and loaded. So at that point, they're ready for anything. They're ready to practically kill somebody because they don't know what it is that they're walking into. This is what you get when you call the police on people for little things. But let me get into that later. Okay? Sorry about that.
Okay.
Okay.
SB3, we're going to head down.
SB3, okay.
Thursday, April 12, 2018, 16:45 and 32 seconds.
Okay, and I'm actually, units on route. Is there anything on the control in there?
We see how that's going to go here, but we want to make sure we have enough units before we,
Okay.
You see, they're trying to find out whether they have enough units. Look at all of this crap that this stinking white racist woman did.
Thursday, April 12, 2018, 16:57 and 14 seconds.
9x3. 9x3.
Yes, sir. Drop me and White 24. Each of the numbers to the left there, 1801 Spruce.
Okay.
Thursday, April 12, 2018, 17 hours and 27 seconds.
3 for me and 23 and 24 to headquarters. And 9:13 is going to be transported. I want the second to last year, going to be 107.
That's got us approximately 5 p.m. exactly.
Strictly for her.
Okay, that's it. Okay, now let's get into this whole thing. Now, Miss Holly Hylton, this stinking, filthy, racist little bitch, is going to sit up here and call the police on two men who only 2 minutes. Now, you know that this is a shame to still keep on having to deal with this in this country in the year 2018. But it probably shouldn't surprise me, because ever since the election of Donald Trump, I think that racist white people have become more stronger or more emboldened to do things they would not ordinarily have done before. They even feel more bold to even do stuff like use the N-word and all of this other kind of stuff, where they're saying, well, now that Trump is in office, oh man, we couldn't say it before, we can finally say it now. So, you know, they feel stronger, more emboldened to do things that they have never, ever done before. And Holly Hylton is the one who caused all of this mess to go down at the Starbucks in Philadelphia on Spruce Street. And I hope that this little wench gets what's coming to her. I hope that somebody just comes up to her and just knocks the living crap out of her, because that's exactly what she deserves. And just to be sure, let me show you this woman's face again. I have to go in here and find my pictures again. Let me show you her face. I want everybody out there, all of my fans, to remember this face. Stinking, ugly, pug nose looking, filthy, rotten, low down. And I just hope that Starbucks does something for these Black men who were arrested and held in the station for 8 to 9 hours. To me, that is so stupid, because back when I was 18, many of you all don't know, but I'm being transparent and everything right about now, that I was arrested when I was 18, because at 18, I was caught jumping a turnstile at one of our train stations here in Chicago. So I was taken out to the station. You know, the two officers, they were plainclothes detectives who arrested me, was very nice to me and everything. I don't remember one, but it was one who looked kind of like the jazz artist Kenny G, and the other one who was kind of heavy, both white detectives, was named Officer Peoria, and both of them were very, very nice to me. Matter of fact, I ran into Officer Peoria like some months later after that, and, you know, we shook hands and all of that. I mean, but the thing is, I mean, even for that, and I actually really did something. I mean, they only held me in the lockup for about 2 or 3 hours. That's it. So I don't know where this 8 to 9 hours came in. And I feel that these two men, they were humiliated. They were embarrassed from being locked up. It just doesn't make any kind of sense. I think the police response, the police overreacted. All of their asses should be fired. Every single last one of them. And I believe that Holly Hylton, I'm glad that she was even fired, because they said it was a mutual agreement in between her and Starbucks. Yeah, broad, it should be, after you have done all of this stuff. And it caused all of these problems. And I just cannot believe that it's some people, especially other Black YouTubers out here, who are defending this. People like O'Shea Duke Jackson and people like Tommy Sotomayor. And there is one other YouTuber, I forgot his name, but he's defending this, and he's putting the onus and putting all the problems on the Black men who got, you know, arrested. Well, you know, when they came in, another Black man now, when they came in, they should have bought something, and this and that, and this and that, all of this, and they weren't they were businessmen. How come they weren't dressed professionally? Look, dickhead. You might have people who might be into looking to own their own business. If you own your own business, you can look and dress properly the way that you want to. I mean, come on now, look at Steve Jobs, for God's sake. You know, the president and the founder of Apple, and the person who started and created the iPhone and the iPod and the iPad. You ain't never seen him wear a suit. Never. So, but one thing I want to know is that this takes me to something else too. How come we are the only ones, it seems like, who are picked at in, it seems like white society and black society or whatever are always the ones who are picking on other black people, and we are the only ones who have to do better and do something over and beyond somebody else? Why are we always the ones who are singled out? And why are we the only ones who are picked on? Why are we the only ones who are told to, straighten up, and the only ones who are told to look a certain way or act a certain way? Why are we the only ones who have to put up with all of this after putting up with a whole lot of stuff that we have to put up with in mainstream society? We're the only ones who could never really have anything too much in life, as far as black people go. Because this morning, I was watching a documentary on the late, great Martin Luther King Jr., and a whole lot of y'all might want to look it up too. Look it up when you get some spare time, after watching Roosevelt Sounds Off. But for real, though, that's just a little bit of a joke. Look up this documentary called Martin Luther King, How They Set Him Up to Be Killed. And just for fighting for freedom for black people during that time, and fighting segregation and fighting the Jim Crow laws in the South, how the CIA and the FBI and government, and some people are even saying that they think it went all the way up, even as far as the office of the White House, as far as, the presidency of Lyndon Baines Johnson, conspired to have this man killed, and how the FBI and J. Edgar Hoover conspired to bring Martin Luther King down by calling him the most dangerous man on this earth, and how J. Edgar Hoover even conspired and used illegal tactics to bring down groups like the Red Guard and the Brown Shirts and the Black Panther Party and Nation of Islam, all because he didn't want black people to have anything or have a movement to inspire black people within this country. How they even had little racist songs talking about how the lyrics go in this song that they played in the documentary. I'm trying to think that America's for whites, Africa is for blacks. Let the apes swing from the trees, send all those black niggas back. They had all of this kind of stuff. Why is it that there was a such thing that was set up by the government, by the same president, President Lyndon Baines Johnson, who conspired and who got together with an author who actually wrote out something called the King Alfred Plan? If many of y'all who have been following me for any number of years, a couple of summers ago, as a matter of fact, it was my 50th episode of Roosevelt Sounds Off, because for my 50th episode, I wanted to do something kind of, excuse me, this thing keeps on popping up. It's getting on my nerves, all of these pop-ups and everything on here. Well, I can't see my screen. I'm not going to hit OK because I don't want this to go south or whatever. I'm pretty sure a whole lot of y'all have gotten pop-ups and stuff on your screen before, but it's not blocking my view and everything right now as far as the camera goes, so I guess I can live with it until this is over. I just don't want to hit anything and accidentally have YouTube Live or something here shut down. But many of y'all know I did something called the King Alfred Plan, which is basically a plan that was created in the 60s by the presidency of Lyndon Baines Johnson, and it was amended in the 1980s. And it was also codenamed Rex 84 and amended by Ronald Reagan and the government then. Basically, it was the outline for the arrest and detainment and possible execution and extermination of every single Black person within this country within 8 hours. And there was no other race of people that kind of plan was set up for. It was only one other race of people, to put a little correction in there, that they did detain during World War II back in 1942, and that was the Japanese immigrants, where their property was taken, and they were put into detainment camps in 1942, where every single Japanese citizen was put in detainment camps. And it was even something in there that even if they were like a little bit or 1/4 Japanese, they could be put in detainment camps. So a whole lot of people, when they saw this, and a whole lot of people were actually saying to me, well, Roosevelt, that could never ever happen. No, don't ever say it won't happen, because it did once. But other than that, there was no other race of people that they had set up and created a whole plan for. This whole plan outlined how, everything would be laid out, how they would, use regular streets and public transportation, and use highways, and use cars, and, take everybody's vehicle, suspend driver's license, suspend passports, freeze bank accounts, all of this, and, get together with militias, and militias would unite with city police would unite with state police would unite with federal police, and along with military, and even every single Black and Latin person in military, their weapons would be taken, and they would be put under arrest and be detained. This is how come I tell Black people, don't go into the military, because if anything, if that were to ever go down, to the United States government, you'd be just nothing but another Black nigger. That's all you would be, because you'd be thrown into detention camps along with the rest of us. They wouldn't care whether you fought and died for this country. You would be put in detainment camps along with everybody else. So us as Black people, we should never be police. We should never be in military. We should never do anything for this country, because we would be thrown in detainment camps along with everybody else, along with the thugs, along with the gangsters, along with everybody else. If there was ever to be a national emergency or a national uprising of Black people in this country, there was no other group of people that this plan was intended for. And it even outlined how Black people would even be killed in detainment camps, and how their bodies would be, stacked up and be put into trash burning furnaces, where the trash burning furnaces could be heated up over to 2,000 degrees centigrade. So therefore, when you go in, you don't just burn up, you just poof, you just become evaporated. There was no other, the government has actually a plan in place. For those of you all who don't know, everybody that's so caught up on watching this garbage on TV and watching all of these stupid reality shows, and, listening to all of this crazy music and partying and clubbing, so much so, and just having a good time. And that's what the government and that's what the powers that be want you to do. And they want you to do all of these kind of things to be entertained, so much so that they don't want you to ever know what's really going on. This is what why are Black people always the ones who have to come up, and we are always the ones who have to, quote unquote, just take it on the chin and take every single thing? This is what bothers me about this whole thing. Because, it was many other, and I believe too, I said it before, and I think it bears repeating, because I'm going to definitely say it again. This is my program. This is my platform. I'm going to say it again, that if you make a rule, or if you have a company where Starbucks has made a rule that you must, everybody, every single last one of you has to be a paying customer in order to use the bathroom or to use the Wi-Fi or whatever, then the rule should be all across the board for every single Starbucks, across the board, everything for everybody. Don't just let certain people get away with certain things, but yet when it comes down to you're singling out two other people. I mean, it's kind of stupid and very, very unfair that you can be hard on, one or two other people, but yet you didn't say anything to these white people over here who did the same thing that these black people just did. I mean, because if you're going to talk about right is right and wrong is wrong, yeah, right is right and wrong is wrong. I don't care who does it. So therefore, you need something clear across the board for everybody that will include everybody. It kind of a little bit reminds me, hopefully I'm not getting off topic, of certain things I experienced even when I was a kid. Because when I was a kid and everything in the 5th and 6th grade, 7th grade or whatever, everybody in class and stuff, they could get up and they could say anything. Everybody in my class, they get up and cuss up a storm all of the time. But it's a problem as soon as I do it. Because I had a boy in class along with me named Patrick Coleman. Never will forget him. I mean, I was in class or something one day. Somebody had done something to make me mad. And I said a cuss word. It was only one. And then Patrick, as much as he cussed, the first thing he did was jump up and want to raise his hand, talking about, oh, man. I was in the 6th grade at the time, so I had a 6th grade teacher named Mr. Doughton. Never will forget him either. Oh, Mr. Doughton. Oh, Roosevelt back here cussing. Yeah, my one word compared to his 1,000,000th. Dude, really? If I were to see him now, I would say, dude, really? Just like, everybody knows that, when I started out here 6 years ago on YouTube, for anybody who's been following me, any length of time, and some people are wishing I would get back into this, but maybe I would, dealing with different topics and going to the scripture, and I would have a reading off of scripture or whatever, that were pertain to something I was talking about. And some people are hoping I get back to that, and hopefully I will. But, I was known never to, I guess, to use any cuss words or whatever. But, it was one time I got a little bit heated over something, or a little bit excited, and I said one cuss word. And I mean, people came down hard on me for that. But yet, it's many other people on YouTube who's been cussing for I don't know how long. I mean, look at, people like Tommy Sotomayor. Look at O'Shea Duke Jackson. These are two people who claim that black people need to do all of this and black people need to do all of that. But they speak like thugs and talk like, cuss and swear and say whatever it is that they want to say. O'Shea Duke Jackson, he claims to be a medical student in Poland, nevertheless, but yet he cusses. I mean, look at one other guy who I even worked with personally here on YouTube, Brian Solange. Cusses like a sailor. Even though Brian Solange, because of some of the things that, that he talks about now, and, some of the subjects that he deals with, if he deals with a certain subject, he might have like a mild version of that here on YouTube, but yet his hard-hitting content is on another platform, because it was many black women, female YouTubers who were trying to flag all of his videos and everything down, just like they were trying to flag down the videos of other black YouTubers who dare to say anything about the average, everyday American black female. So, but I mean, he still cusses. He's used the B word and used the MF and all of this other kind of stuff. But yet everybody came down on me just for using one cuss word. Golly, you all. I mean, my one compared to everybody else's 1,000,000th. Really? I can't do anything and can't say anything, which I said all of that just to say this. Us as black people can't do in this country, can't do anything or say anything. I mean, if we get into a tough situation, even if it's of us, oh Lord, getting my words all scrambled up and everything, even if us as black men, got it out there, get upset, They said that we need to be quiet and we can't stand up. We can't do anything to defend ourselves, because if we do, or if we raise our voice a little bit, we're going to come off as being mean. We're going to come off as being aggressive, and we're going to come off as being the quote unquote angry black man. That's the thing, or the narrative and the running mantra that you always hear is the stereotypical angry black man. I've had people always tell me too, good friends of mine tell me that when I'm here on YouTube, I need to calm down because I'm going to fall into the category of being the so-called stereotypical angry black man. Now, how come it is that I can be the angry black man, but if it's in society now, in American society, if it's a white man that gets angry, they'll just say, oh, that man is just angry. And by the way, he just happens to be white. Well, they might not even say that. They'll just say, that man is just angry, or he's just an angry man. They won't throw his color into it. But when it comes down to us, oh, it's the angry black man that you got to worry about. We got to be more calm. We got to do this and we got to do that. Why do we have all of these rules to try to curtail our behavior? How come we are always the ones who have to be looked at and always the one who always have to be critiqued? Even right now, here in the year 2018, I don't want to be critiqued and looked at anymore. I'm tired of hatred. I'm tired of racism. I'm tired of being looked at in the wrong way. I'm tired of every single time I have to go down the street, like what happened to me a couple of years ago. Some little old white lady wants to clench her purse closer to her. I'm tired of anger and violence in the world. I'm tired of being critiqued and looked at in a certain way. I'm tired of having to adjust my behavior just to suit what America says that we should be doing. I think in the year 2018, I think it is about time that we be looked at just like everybody else. And there's another famous black YouTuber sometime I follow. I don't always agree with every single thing that he says. But it's a YouTuber I follow. Maybe sometimes you want to check him out because sometimes he does say some things that are logical and makes a lot of sense, named David Carroll. He always says the two worst things that happen to black people is integration and the internet. Because he said with integration, you had your own, back in the day, we had the black lawyers and black doctors, black shops and everything. But with integration, a whole lot of black people are so happy to go and be able to use the bathroom and go into the bathroom with a white person. And it was so anxious now to step into a stall and be right next to a white person and smell the odor of a white person's shit. And that makes a whole lot of black people happy because we can finally be, up there equal with black people, or white people, should I say. But I would have to say that with integration, that I don't think was always the main focus. I just think with integration or, rights when it comes down to black people, that the only thing that we wanted was just to be treated fairly and just to be treated like a man. That's all we ever wanted. Not to always, have the right to go into a business and stuff that was white, or even this case, what I've seen is something personally that more, black people, especially black men, even some black women, are more excited to go and screw around with a white person now because, now in 2018, you can do it. Back then you couldn't. Because that spirit of sex is just taking over this entire country. But that's not my thought. But I just think that it's just all about just living and everything and just being able to live a happy life without fear of being killed. Just because of who and whatever it is that you are. We just want fairness. We want to know that if we go into a court, even if we did make a mistake, or do something wrong, even if we did commit the same crime as another white person, the only thing that we want is just equal treatment in, under the law. We don't want judges out there or racist judges to, give the white person like maybe a year in probation, and they try to give the black person 10, 15, 20 years for committing the same crime. And I mean, everything is so unequal. That's all we want is just equality. Even when it comes down to the war on drugs, back, during the crack epidemic, they were so quick to want to call it, when it came down to black people doing drugs, they wanted to, criminalize it and call it a criminal offense and turn it into a criminal affair. But now with the opioid crisis, and because I guess more white people are addicted to opioids and painkillers, now they don't want to call it a criminal offense. They want to just call it a health crisis when it comes down to them. So you see how come everything is so unequal? And how come sometimes even we fear for our lives, even when it comes down to police, because police, they handle us much more, harshly, even and even other black police officers. Because whenever black people get into that role and get into the role of being an authority figure, one thing I notice is they always use it as a way to be harder against other blacks. I saw it with a good friend of mine who joined the police department a few years ago. And he was one way, but when he joined the police department, he was something else. Start calling black people, niggas and all of this other kind of stuff. And he said that there were even white cops who used the word nigga right in front of him. And he never ever said anything, never corrected them and everything. Matter of fact, he laughed and went along with it. Because it seems like when they get into that role, they begin to view other black people in a certain way, just because they were able to become a police officer and got accepted within that white role, they begin to use it as a way to step on the necks of other black people and to keep other black people in line. This is how come I'm against black people being police officers. And some of the worst are black women. They are the worst. Because I think a black woman police officer might shoot you a whole lot faster than a black man. So that's the only thing we want is just equality under the law. And, we don't want to have the fear of possibly being killed by police or civilians. And even if, no matter where we go, whether we go into a store, whether we go into a coffee shop or whatever, I think that what it is, and I'm just speaking from my heart here, that we just want equal treatment under the law, and if you make a rule, we want the rules to apply to everybody. Don't, let the rule, because everybody's money is green. Don't let the rule apply to only some people and not apply to others just because of the color of the skin. So at this point, that's where I'm going to leave this live stream. And I'm just happy that Starbucks is trying to make things right, and that they are even trying to, do more sensitivity training like they're going to do in May. They said they're going to close down this. I think it's going to be May 28th, May 29th. They're going to be closing down all of the Starbucks for like an afternoon and training all of their workers in racial and cultural bias and everything. And I don't know, maybe it took this crisis in the Starbucks in Philadelphia for this conversation in this talk to happen, because maybe that's what we need in this country, to get together and have a much more open and honest conversation when it comes down to race and culture within this country. Because truly, we don't want a race war, and we don't want this to tear this country asunder. Because if we keep going the way we're going, that is exactly what is going to happen. And I'm even glad that they fired this Holly Hylton. Remember that name, remember that face of Holly Hylton. She deserves to have every single thing bad to happen to her the rest of her life. She does not deserve to work anywhere for the rest of her life, especially having this kind of racist attitude. And I'm glad that Starbucks did the right thing in getting rid of her. Stinking, filthy, low-down, racist broad. Ignorant, racist broad. So at this point, that's where I'm going to end this. And if anybody liked this video, be sure to give me a thumbs up because I'm going to save the replay. Hello to all of you all who've been watching me live. And good morning to all of you all. And I hope that everybody has a good, prosperous, and positive day. I'm about to, get off of here in this live stream, hop into the tub. I'll probably go out today. They say it's going to be a nice day here in Chicago. I think we're expecting a high near 60 degrees. So I'm about to get off of here and hop in the tub. And I'm going to head to Walmart and grab a bucket of some of that hot and spicy chicken. So I'd like to end by saying peace and blessings to all.